Hello and welcome to another new episode of Learning Simplified. Today in this tutorial and in the next, we will be discussing on some CSS selectors. Stay tuned. Now we had previously received a lot of questions regarding the CSS selectors. So this is what we are about to explain here in short in a quick time basis. Previously, here is the part, the CSS, which has been linked to this HTML page, and this is the only thing that we had did so far. We had created a CSS style sheet here. Here it goes, this style.css, and we had used a general selector known as this HTML, which turns the background, the default background color of our HTML page into something different, into something like this. But this is the only change that we had made into our style.css. Now we will be using some selectors. We will be heading back to this index.html. Let's toggle this word wrap. Now first thing that we are going to do, we'll be needing some paragraph format here. So we'll be copying this text document, and here in the very first case, we will be creating some paragraph tags inside a definite div element. So div is another HTML block level element which is used to fit your content. The properties, the style attributes of this individual div element is always adjustable. So that is why it is always a preferable format which is being used in HTML to hold all the contents instead of a table. That means if we are talking about this table format, first of all we need to create a table, then we need to create a row, we need to create a column, and inside this column we need to place our document. So this is a very hectic thing for every time, and moreover it is very difficult to customize our table element into HTML. So that is why practically table is not proper element to fit our contents into, and instead we will be using this block level element of div where we will be placing all our content. So here it goes, and as we said, we'll be using a paragraph here. We had created a div element, a block level element, and inside we had created our first paragraph. So this paragraph, it practically comes within this div element which has a class of, for say, content holder. Now we had created a div element and we had called in a class. The purpose of creating an external CSS style sheet is to create all the required classes and IDs into this individual CSS document, and we need to call in the respective class names or IDs into our main HTML document against some definite element like this div as we had used right over here. First of all, let's create the paragraphs that we are practically talking about. So I will be creating 3 distinct paragraphs inside this individual content holder div element. There it goes. I have created all of these 3 paragraph elements, and we will be creating 2 additional paragraphs, or might be 3. 3 will be the best, I think. The first one, the second one, and the third one. So we have created these 3 paragraphs right outside this individual div element of content holder. Now if we press Ctrl S and if we get back to our project and reload, we will be seeing that this will be the result. So far there is no such change into our display here, as we can see. So the next obvious thing is we need to customize this individual class name here. We need to add some additional CSS style properties into this content holder class name. So definitely we'll be copying this class name from here. So let's copy this thing and head back to style.css, and first of all we will be creating a class name. So why this class name? We have mentioned that it is a class in nature, so that is why we need to create it as a class element. This dot here, it represents that the specific selector, it is a class instead of an ID. If we, instead of this dot, if we use here this hash element, it signifies that the selector name which has been created here, it is an ID basically in nature. An ID can be called in once into our main HTML document. But if we create a class name, it can be called in multiple times. That means we can use this class name content holder multiple times into this individual HTML document anywhere, wherever we want. So let's head back to this style.css, and we have created this class name right over here, this dot content holder. And now all we are going to do, let's mention it as a max width. So the max width is 1200 pixels. Margin, let's put a padding inside. So the padding property, it will be 1 rem from both sides, from all the 4 sides of this individual class name content holder. And as we had mentioned a padding property, so we need to put this box sizing property of border box. All it is going to do practically, it is going to calculate the additional space required into HTML document, and it is going to realign our content inside this particular div, which is using this class of content holder right over here. There it goes. So we will be heading back to our style.css, press Ctrl S. First of all, head back to your project and reload. And you can see this will be the obvious result. So in order to understand what is going on, the best way is to provide some kind of background color property. So we will be using this background color of, for say, no, not this one, it will be identical one. So instead of it, we'll be using something separate like this one, a little yellow in color. That's it. Press Ctrl S, head back and reload, and you can see that this will be the obvious result. So we have created this div element which is using the class name of content holder, and we can see that all the contents inside, those are paragraph, those we have created into our document. So this is the thing that we need to create in the first place in order to continue.